my thrivers out there. Dr. Nicole Bonner with Thrive Chiropractic Coaching, and I have a really good treat for you today. I have Hailey Jules with me today. She's one of my good friends, obviously, and just somebody that inspires me, and she loves chiropractic and helping chiropractors. So today she's going to talk to you guys about how teamwork makes our dreams work, and she's going to go over all the things that you need to know about creating a power team for your new practice. So, Haley, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule and being here with us today. I know this is going to be a huge gift for all the people that jump on and listen to this recording.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. It's always such an honor to be here. And I'm really committed to making the most out of this next 20, 30 minutes we have together to make it super profitable and make it bring more fulfillment to the listeners.
Awesome. Thank you.
So, creating your dream team. So, there's a few pieces to this puzzle, and I have the honor and the challenge of being able to cover as much as possible on the top nuggets in a short amount of time here. So, the first thing I wanted to cover was the hiring process. So, when, why, how to hire, and when to hire. And
Mm.
the like old school thinking on this is, hire slow, fire fast. We learn that all the time. And in my opinion, and it's been in my experience, especially with the way things have churned and shifted the last 5 years or so, you really can't hire fast enough in this profession
Mm-hmm.
to find that person. So, when to hire, if you're asking the question, it's probably almost too late. It's time. It's time now to hire. And why? There's a couple reasons why this is absolutely key to do as soon as possible. And one of the big ones is if you think about any successful profession and really any successful, let's just look at it from a medical standpoint, places where you would go and have a doctor lay hands on your body and treat you. Do you really want the same person that is treating you and providing the medical care and has that standard of excellence? Do you really want them like confirming your appointment on a phone call and an email? Like, to me, if I were to go to a chiropractic office and that happened, I would feel a little sketched out. Like, is this really a good chiropractor? Can I really trust him? If here he is like answering his calls and emails and has all this free time on his hands, it's an automatic red flag. So I'd say if you're nervous about hiring or, nervous about being able to afford an employee, a workers' comp, all of that, just do super duper duper part time. I'll show you in a couple minutes how you can plus cluster book and have someone come in like 2 hours a day or 2 hours twice a week to really create that feeling and atmosphere of a professional business and create the environment of where you want to go versus where you are now. So when I'm training my CA, something I'm constantly asking them is I ask what their practice goal is. They'll say, okay, it's 1,000 a week. So I have them actually write down at 1,000 a week, what do I move like? What's my speed? What do I act like? What do I speak like? What comes out of my mouth? What kind of worries and concerns and things do I not even have time for at 1,000 a week that I'm
Mm.
focused on now? And so it's very similar in this case to look at what's your real goal here in practice? Where do you want to be? Do you want to be someone with a booming team and you have like a gym on site and they work out and then come in? Like, whatever your real goal is, we want to act and move and breathe like that and create that environment right off the bat. And that even if it's just little segments of time. Um, so now that we know the importance of actually getting a team member in there, how do we get the right person? And so this part is really important to be totally transparent right out the gate about what the job is and what the job is not, so that people know. And I think even writing down, like, my dream team member is dot, dot, dot. My dream team member does not do this. They do this, they don't do that. And what's really unique about this, if you're a new doctor or a student, you'll likely start out as a one doctor, one CA office. So you get to really create the position. And I encourage you to create the position off of what don't you like doing or what aren't you good at, and then hire for that. So in my business, it's very similar in that I don't have a huge team, but I do have a team that supports me, lots of independent contractors, and then I have my main right hand woman. And before hiring her, one of the things I looked at, and I had had lots of team members in the past, but she's definitely the best one I've had by far and has been such a great fit. And what I looked at for her was I literally wrote out a list with a couple columns. And one column was high income producing things that I do throughout the day. Another
Mhm.
one was high fulfillment producing activities that I do. And then the third one was like low income, low fulfillment producing activities. And then
Mhm.
when I split them up in those three columns, I thought, what would life be like if my time and my energy was really spent on the high income producing and
Mhm.
high fulfillment producing? Isn't it true that if you free up more time for income producing and fulfillment producing, then you're going to make more money? Like you're going to have more resources, you're going to have more energy and more strength to pull from. So
Mhm.
don't like billing, if you don't like scheduling, confirming appointment calls, even your own notes, right? Hire
Mhm.
someone to do it. Get the help, get the support so that you
Mhm.
can go into growth mode and be a growth beast. Because
Mhm.
that's really like what I'm imagining your tribe here is wanting, right? Is growth, more new patients, more new things. So you need your best man on the team.
Yes.
The other way I look at it is if you just look at hourly rate of like
Mhm.
if you're a chiropractor, how much do you make per adjustment? How long does that adjustment take? Do that math and see how
Mhm.
much is your there. That's how you're going to know how much your time is worth per hour. So if you can hire out less than that, do it, even if you have to
Mhm.
find a way, even if you're like, I'm going to do this, I'm not quite sure in 2 weeks how I'm going to pay this person.
Mhm.
I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to produce that income, and here's my deadline. It puts that fire under our butts too, that someone else is counting on us for their income and their salary. Um, sorry, were you going to say something?
Yeah, no, everything that you're saying, I'm like, yes, exactly. Because I always use the example of not just with adjusting, that's a great example as well, but also with growth. So you can spend 1 hour doing an outside talk to 10 people. And if you think about if you had 10 people, do you think you can at least close half of them to come into your office? That's 5 people. And if your care plan, let's just say on the lower end, your care plan was a $3,000 care plan, you times that by five, you just had a $15,000 hour
Yeah,
where you could be paying a biller $20 for that hour to do the billing, and not only do the billing, but to actually do the billing properly.
absolutely. Good point. I'm glad you brought that up. Absolutely. That's so powerful. And I think that a lot of times like we without sounding too woo-hoo, right? We attract and we create what we're putting out there, so that abundance mindset and focus on like I have enough, I will have enough, I will find a way to pay this person. Like this is going to happen. This is the avenue to help me make more money and generate more new patients. That mindset is going to get us so far in the growth mentality. And then the other part that I think is really important, people highly underestimate how long it takes to find the
Mhm.
right person and train them. So you don't want to wait till you're like, oh shit, I need a team member in place to
Yeah.
hire because it's going to take some time to really get them going. Make sure you have the right fit. You may have to filter through a lot of people to get that
Mhm.
right person. And then actually training them is a whole nother job. So whether you hire a trainer or you train them
Mhm.
yourself, that's a whole nother job on your plate. So
Mhm.
imagine you'd rather do that now or get the support to do that now, than down the road when you're too busy to actually make that happen. And
Right.
your team member can also help create like your culture and the environment that you want and all of that right out the bat. So, what to
Yeah.
look for when hiring? Definitely look for a glass half full person, not glass empty. Look for somebody that like takes action, is going to run in. If the building's on fire, they're going to run in and pull people out,
Mhm.
not sit on the sidelines. And so, so always, like this just keeps happening over the years. The best team members I see are ones that were essentially, for lack of a better term, poached. Like your favorite barista, your favorite server at a restaurant. Obviously, don't poach from another chiropractic office. That's not cool. But
My
if you
God.
right, if you find someone that's amazing and just always puts a smile on your face, at that local coffee shop or whatever, ask them if they'd ever, be interested in doing something else or really making a difference in someone's life. I think that uh, we're much more successful, like, finding that personality that fits. You can also do, like, disc profiling tests. There's free ones online. Don't Tony Robbins has a free one to see, like, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses. You always hire for your weaknesses, not your
Mhm.
strengths. Because sometimes we'll try to hire people that are like us, and we like, and, they're too similar. So
Yes.
yeah, and then also have very clear the other thing I think a lot of times that stalls people's hiring is they're not quite sure, like, how to train the person or what to give them to learn. So
Mhm.
make sure and you could set a call with me, or I'm sure Nicole can help with this, or other chiropractors that have done it, but find someone that can sit down with you before you hire and say, like, here's what it's going to look like. The first week you want to train them on this, this, and this, give them these resources. Second week you want to train them on this, who can really map it out,
Yeah.
so that person comes in knowing what their job is, because that's the biggest frustration I hear from teams, like teams not knowing what their jobs are. They don't know what their responsibilities are. And then maybe they don't have them at the beginning, but then later on they find out they were expected to do these things. And they're like,
Mhm.
wait, I didn't even know that's my job, you know? So being really clear at the beginning with them, I think is huge, and letting them know like you plan to grow, the position is going to grow, it's going to change, monthly, there'll be new challenges and new things so that they're in that real growth mindset with you.
Yeah, Haley, I think that's huge. That's a huge point. Is like that's one of I think an area that I was weak in for a long time is like I would get these great people and I didn't have a training schedule. And
Yeah.
so it was like this random, it would be like these random like trainings, like, oh, you don't know how to check somebody out? Come on over. I'll just show you how to check them out. But no, it's got to be like a calendar of training. And so that's what I do now is like I actually have a calendar of training and every day like that training has to get done no matter what. We have to carve out that time at that time to do whatever training is on the calendar for that day.
It's so brilliant, and it keeps teams sharp too. Like even the most well-trained teams, they're still training on a
Oh
weekly
yeah.
basis. And
Yeah. I'm
yeah,
still training. Like,
absolutely.
I still train on my day one. I've been doing this for 24 years. I still train on my day one where I get with myself and I role play my day one, my pre-consultation, my day two. Like, I still do that as part of my own discipline training.
That is so good. I do the same. Sometimes I watch training videos that I made. I'm like, wow, these are good. Or I will learn something or remember something. You know what I mean? And times change and things change, and the people we're working with are different. So you really do have to train and stay relevant,
Yeah.
in your field and in this time in history. So, thinking to moving to like scheduling a little bit, is it okay if we switch gears a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Because a lot of new people, especially when they grow, like if new people have a coach, they're growing faster than people that don't have a coach. And then they're hitting this like ceiling where they're like, okay, all of my spots are full. What do I do?
Absolutely. And the trap you don't wanna get into is the, 6 days a week, 7 days a week, 9 to 5, 9 to 10, 8
Yeah.
to 10 traps. So we want to correct that right at the beginning and get a really solid schedule. And this is what when I worked in practice and Dr. Nona was my doctor, this is what we were really good at. So like her claim to fame, right, is part-time $1 million cash practice. And no joke, it was part-time, like, as the practice owner and the only chiropractor for many years when I was in there, like, she would come in and be there, like, about 2 hours a day, maybe less, maybe 90,
Mhm.
and, like, that was it because we tightened things up so much, but we did it before the numbers were there, and that's the key. So we were always asking that question, like, "What would I move like? What would I act like at this number? And how would this be?" And then so there's a few keys to this, and one is in your scheduling. There's an old well, it's really not that old, but a lot of people now that I work with have not heard of this movie, but Never Been Kissed. You've seen that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Never Been Kissed, right?
It's
Never
not
been
that old.
No, I don't think so either, but I was doing an immersion last weekend and they're like, never seen that." Like, "Drew Barrymore?" We're like, "No." But anyways, in that movie, the best friend, to the leading character, kind of had, like, a promiscuous personality and was always hooking up with men, and there's this quote, she says, "My mama always told me, 'No one's gonna buy the whole freaking ice cream truck if you're giving away the popsicles for free.'" And I think of that a lot with the chiropractic office and the environment you're creating, right? It's like
Mhm.
a busy restaurant with people sitting in the window. Why do they sit them in the window? Because they want it to like look busy and people come in and you think, oh, that place must be good. Look, they always have a line, they always have people out front. So we've got to really create that with our scheduling. So I'm a huge fan of cluster booking, especially if you have open floor plan, where you
Mhm.
look and you see them. Okay, what's the quickest that I could see a patient, adjust them, treat them, do everything? And obviously, like, if you have support staff, you can go a lot quicker and just stay at the adjustment table. So, like, for us in practice, it would be usually under 2 minutes per patient.
Mhm.
Be like, "What y'all,
Mhm.
what y'all, what y'all?" And then I would assist with other things, rehab, and all of that, and take the patient, but a couple things happen here. One, you set the frame to win the game where the patient really like values your time and understands like this is what treatment looks like here versus if you're taking 20 minutes, 30 minutes, then you get busier and then they're like, "Wait a minute, why am I paying the same and I used to get all this time?" So the
Mhm.
closer you can pack them together, this is also going to be more profitable when you're hiring your employee, right? Because you only have them there during that really busy time until you can um, pay them for full time. And so
Mhm.
cluster booking as close as possible together where there's movement and energy in the office, lots of people coming in and out. And then all of the notes and other things and paperwork and all of that can be done in the peripheral in
Mhm.
between these clusters of patients. So anywhere from like I know in a 90-minute cluster, we would have like 50, and this was chiropractic biophysics with full rehab, the doctor, a front desk, and myself. So it's not like you could really do anything with a very small amount of team members. And so
Mhm.
there's value and there's perceived value, like we learn in marketing. And value is obviously we know like this adjustment is priceless. Like everyone here on this call knows that this is absolutely priceless. You couldn't put a dollar amount on an
Mhm.
adjustment because it's
Right.
resetting the brain and nervous system. But then the perceived value is what the consumer sees that it's worth and feels like it's worth. So
Mhm.
we've got to create the maximum amount of perceived value in our language and the stuff you guys learned from Dr. Nicole in your
Mhm.
communication, your table talk, those one-liners that are really going to help them realize the value of that appointment. And being fully and completely present with the patient in front of you makes it feel like more time. Like if you think of any times that you've really had amazing experiences, like those mountaintop experiences in life, time almost doesn't exist in those moments. And
Hmm.
that's what their appointment is going to be like when you're completely in present time consciousness, giving them all of you in those 2 minutes, those 4 minutes. They're not going to need more time. They're going to really feel filled up and feel like it was an hour. The
Yeah.
other thing too, I hear a lot of people think that the patients want like these long appointments or want more, or want to be educated.
Nope.
They don't. They would have gone to chiropractic school if they wanted that. Like people want to be in and out and done. The faster, the better. People will actually pay more for quality service if
Mhm.
it can be done quicker.
Yeah, agreed. Haley, when you were speaking, it reminds me of a story I heard. Do you know who Rob Schiffman is?
I don't know.
Rob Schiffman is an old time chiropractor and leader and mentor in our profession. And at one time, he had the world's largest volume chiropractic office. He was seeing single doctor like 2,500 office visits in a week.
Oh my God.
2,500.
Wow.
Okay. And I heard stories about him. He was like, he's like just super connected. And I heard stories about how he would go. And this was like back then, back when they had closed room adjusting. So he would actually have to go like walk from room to room instead of having open room adjusting like we do now. And I heard stories like he would walk into the room, like lay hands on people, and people's spines would cavitate. And then he would walk out and their adjustment would be over and they would get, not get dressed because they were dressed, but they would get their stuff and leave and be on their way.
Mm,
And so his adjustments were like 20, 30, 40 seconds.
wow.
And they took a poll in his practice one time and they asked for a patient satisfaction, like a patient satisfaction poll. And they asked the patients, how much time does the doctor spend with you? And the average amount of time that came back on their poll was 8 minutes. So the reality of his visit was a 30-second visit, but what the patient felt like they was spending was 8 minutes with them.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people on our like that are on this call and they're going to be watching this video where you guys spend 8 or 10 or even 15 minutes with a patient. And like my point is that he was so present time consciousness. He just like gave every energetic bit of his being to these people that to them it felt like an 8 or a 10 or a 12-minute visit, but it
Wow.
was actually only 30 seconds.
Which then gets me thinking too, like even if you are super present, right? And you're in that flow, but you're still spending 8, 10 minutes, it's gonna feel like an hour. And nobody
Yeah.
wants to get there after for an hour unless you're like us, you know.
Yeah.
Unless you're a total
And
chiropractic nerd. No one wants
yeah,
that long.
yeah, and I also think that there's a whole healing aspect to it because when I feel like when I've had the most significant when people had the most significant healings in my office,
Mm.
um, where like their like people's like eczema went away or like their hearing was restored on the table or like they were constipated for like months and had a bowel movement on the table. Like I'm just thinking of a few off the top of my head when like we just had that like immediate healing. It was when we were at our highest volume of
Yeah.
like, and I'm talking lots of people, like 5, 6, 700 office visits in a week. That's when I feel like we had our best, like our most significant miraculous healings in our practice.
That is so cool. That's amazing to see. Really, really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, your presence really is the greatest present, that you can give somebody. That gift is so powerful, and I think that's what makes chiropractic so unique. It's one of the only professions in the medical field where there's even an awareness of that, and like you're taught that and you hear those present time consciousness and you hear these things, and that could be the best 2 minutes of the person's week. And I think that I've heard a lot of times, chiropractors and CAs alike being really focused on What did I say? Did I do the patient education thing? Did I do what my coach said? Did I follow the script?
Mm,
What else do I need to say? But it's me. So it's like when you take you out of the equation, it leaves room for healing. And that's really
mm,
where real healing begins when the focus is simply on just meeting them where they're at and
mm.
giving them the powerful 2 minutes, 90 seconds, whatever that takes in your office. Having
Yeah,
said that, I'm completely not opposed to longer adjustments if that's the practice that you're wanting to create. If you're
exactly.
like, hey, my goal is 60 patients a week, and here's how I want to do it. And I'm happy with these numbers. Like, this is the life I want to create. Amazing. Do it. Go for it. If that's going to work for you and you find the right people that want that long visit and it's going to
Hmm.
serve them and you at the highest level, different story.
Yeah. And that's the
Probably
beauty about opening your own practice though. And, it's like basically your life is a canvas and you get the opportunity to paint whatever picture you want to paint.
it's so true. My favorite exercise that I've done in chiropractic and in life is one where you write down your life script. Have you done this one before? It's like
I don't
it's
know.
kind of like a life script exercise. And you basically write down, you could do like your whole lifestyle, you could do a week or you could do a day. So I usually have my chiropractors when I'm going to start working with their team, I'll have them write a life script for their perfect day in the office, like exactly what it looks like and feels like. So it'll look something like I walk into the office and my team is there smiling, music is blasting, the lights are bright, there's strawberry infused water, like every single detail of what you would want that environment to be like and down to like flow, the pace you're moving, the food you're eating, the clothes you're wearing, what your team looks like. And what it does, it's so powerful because it creates complete clarity of what you're focused on so you can get there. And then what we do is we record ourselves reading the life script,
Mm,
literally like in that word pattern of as if you're actually doing it. Like I walk into the office, my team is smiling, they're energetic, they're chanting our mission statement, whatever it is for you, you read it,
hmm
record it, then you listen to it over and over and over again till it becomes real and becomes what you're experiencing. So it's a fun visualization exercise. Athletes do this, pro athletes,
hmm
and it's a great way to know what you're looking for and really just write, like get in your zone and write what
mm.
you want that to look like.
I think that's a great idea. I'm going to do that with my team this week.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, it's
It,
been a long time since we've done something like that.
it's really fun, like super fun. And then what I would encourage them to start with when they wake up in the morning
Okay.
too, because then it'll help them with like any rituals or anything that they need to do before they come in.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
what's your ideal? I woke up, I worked out, I had my green drink, whatever. And it brings in that awareness of like what I do before I get in the office is what sets the tone for the shift in the office.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Awesome.
so cool. Haley, you gave us so many great nuggets and we're rolling up, believe it or not, on 30 minutes of our call already.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun as always. I know everything that you touch turns to magic, and so I can't wait. I can't wait to see even where this recording goes and just everything you're creating. I'm hearing amazing things about chiropractors really creating their dream like right out the gate with your help. So thank you for what you do.
Oh, of course. It's my pleasure. It's my sweet spot. And thank you for what you do. If you guys don't know, Haley is the lead chiropractic assistant trainer in the world. She is a world-class chiropractic assistant trainer. She travels all over the world and she helps chiropractic teams just like yours. Just that she takes already great teams and makes them even better. And I'm not just saying this because she's on the call right now, but I highly recommend at some point if you're opening your new practice and you get your and you're going to create your dream team, please contact Haley because she can help you all the way through the process from like we talked about today, all the way through the process of like first of all deciding when it is that you even need to start creating a team, all the way through to getting that team in the office trained up and running, and really creating a practice where, kind of like Kelly was talking about that that she worked in, um, like Nona, where, you're the doctor and you just show up and you work in your sweet spot and you just do what brings you the most fulfillment and you're out and your team handles basically everything else. And so I call it the 2 week fishing vacation. I heard that somewhere along the line. Have you heard the 2 week fishing vacation?
No, I like it.
Never heard that before. So the 2 week fishing vacation is when the owner of the practice can go away fishing for 2 weeks and their practice can run exactly how it runs when you're there. And so
Amazing.
that's what I highly encourage. Your vision is your vision, but one thing that I do encourage you guys is like when you're creating your vision, create space for a life.
Yes, 100%. And,
And you
oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
This is actually interesting. I was just talking to a friend about this topic where, professions and things that we do that are dependent on our bodies and ourself. And this is a really unique and interesting one where you kind of have to make sure all your eggs aren't in one basket here out the gate because we never know, like anything could happen. So if your practice is completely dependent on you, that's a problem, so even if you're like, "Yes, I'm gonna adjust till the day I die, I'm adjusting thousands of people on the day I die,"
Mhm.
it's still good to have the systems in place in case you wanna take vacation, in case something comes up, and the enthusiasm can only get us so far if something were to happen, and, you don't wanna be the non-replaceable part of your business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, listen, you guys, thank you guys so much for joining us for the Wednesday workshop. I know that this is not a live. You guys know I'm not great on technology. I'm still working on how to get us live, but this was a great opportunity for us to have Haley on board and drop her golden nuggets this week. So I will see you guys next Wednesday. And Haley, thank you so much again for taking
Thanks
time.
for
I know you're
having me,
busy.
I appreciate it.
Of course.